Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier, and this is Ship Updates / The Piracy Show. And of course, the big update this week was yesterday and today's news, which was the Aegis Vulcan, the repair, refuel, and rearm ship. Now this is of course a starter triple profession ship, but given its size, chances are, as of right now, I have not seen a price for this. I'm guesstimating at least 150 bucks for this thing. And that's admittedly a lowball estimate. That's kind of an if dreams came true estimate. Probably going to come in a little bit more than that. Now the ship overall, I'm kind of enthusiastic about it. I like it. I mean, especially from a pirate point of view, having something that can go out there and do repair jobs and rearm jobs and refuel jobs on the fly, something that isn't a much larger ship, that you would have to risk. I like it. I like the idea behind it. Buying one, I don't think I will. And in fact, I'm pretty sure I won't, just because it's not a role that I intend to play, but I still have a very high opinion of this ship. And the fact that the concept was so fleshed out by the time it got to us, which is something that in the past I found has been kind of lacking. It's sort of, oh, it's going to do this thing. Oh, it's going to do that thing. Now the things are being shown to us and explained to us, at least at a very beginning level. So I really like that. It kind of showed a little bit more care, attention, and effort that went into this concept sale. And of course, the Hammerhead sale as well, which hopefully is a permanent kind of change that CIG is making to when they release ships for concept sale. They're a lot more fleshed out, they're a lot more thought out, and I like that. My only real concern about this ship is because it's kind of a jack of all trades. Some people say, oh, well, I like the flexibility. In certain cases, though, with a jack of all trades, I think the one thing you have to watch out for is sometimes a little bit of everything can be a whole lot of nothing. And I'm saying this, just relative to other video games. There's been different ships, different classes in many different video games who have had just a little bit of everything, and it generally doesn't play out that well. So that would be my only real concern, but I'm sure, once again, with people giving feedback and pushing the right buttons, if there are any problems with this ship, I'm sure it'll be put back on track. Anyways, yeah, so Vulcan. But we spent all yesterday talking about it, so let's move on. Now, one of the other things that we got was, of course, an update on the Connie Phoenix. Why are you so worried or concerned about the Connie Phoenix? Oh, I'm not. But one important thing about this ship is this is the ship that stepped in line in front of the Cutlass Red and the Cutlass Blue. So the sooner this thing gets done, presumably, the sooner those two ships get back on track. Next up was, of course, the Anvil Hurricane, but with turret gameplay still being in kind of a questionable state and this ship pretty much putting all its eggs in that basket, I guess we'll just have to wait and see on that. That's probably going to need some overall turret fixes before that ship really becomes viable. And speaking of turrets, of course, we got a sneak peek of the interior of the Aegis Hammerhead. So hopefully by September, this will actually be something we'll be flying in game. There was one interesting thing relative to the Hammerhead that I wanted to kind of split up and talk about, which was the Hammerheads Turrets. Now, of course, they look pretty cool and they look pretty sweet. And one of the problems that we had heard of recently was the Redeemer. One of its problems was its turrets, because its bottom turret isn't actually attached to the hull, which seems to be kind of the same problem that the Hammerheads turrets are going to have. Unless, of course, it's not really a problem. Now, we also got a look here at the new Mustang, the updated Mustang. Overall, the outside hull looks pretty good, though in the cockpit, that control panel looks far larger than the original Mustang control panel, so that could be a bit of an issue. Also, the new EMP kind of catwalk within the Avenger Warlock, so that was pretty cool. And of course, last but certainly not least, the Reclaimer. Damn. So 3.1 apparently still. End of March by the very latest, I guess. Fingers crossed. Finally, this ship will be in my hangar and flyable. I have been waiting for this since September of 2014. It is now 2018. You know, a month and a little bit away from finally being able to fly my Reclaimer. Pretty damned exciting, and I cannot wait. Now, of course, today on Reverse the Verse, they were talking about a number of topics, and of course, the question of being able to free warp or, you know, quantum out into wherever came up, and that is still something that's up in the air whether or not that's going to be implemented again or not. And a lot of people have been voicing opinions on this, and I would like to see the system come back. I would like to see it come back. And, you know, some people say, oh, you're a pirate, though. Then people can use that to get away and just to go this way, that way, and the other way. Yeah. No, but I think having a system like that doesn't really do anything. You know, without having that system, it doesn't achieve what it's supposed to achieve. Because at some point, we're going to get a bookmark system. We're going to get a save that location system in the game. You know, right now you can see me in my Cutlass. I'm going back hunting for that freelancer that I found and not all that successful at it. And, you know, sometimes, you know, you fly over the same spot again and again and again. You're like, I know it's there, but apparently it isn't. But at some point, we are going to have to get some kind of a bookmark system to save that location, because you might set up your own base here, there, or anywhere, and you're going to need a marker to let you know where that is, whether it's something in your databanks or an actual beacon somewhere that maybe only you can see, or your org can see, whatever. And the reason why I think that it doesn't do anything is because right now, like, let's say I go and I quantum from Olisar to Yella. Well, I can just hit the stealth button or the 4 button. I can just power down my engines halfway through that warp and just drop out of warp anywhere I want, and then I can turn and fly to Levski, and then I'll be kind of off axis from any kind of interdiction that might be directly between Olisar and Levski. And the truth is, if you have a bookmark system, which we're basically going to have, you're going to be able to just set these points and mark these points. Back in the old days in EVE Online, we used to have all these paths through 0-0 booked, marked out, so that we could just keep warping from point to point to point to point, and we would have them all neatly labeled. So we would just literally go from jump gate, we'd land right on the next jump gate, we'd toggle autopilot once, and autopilot would just jump us through the gate, and then once we got through to the other side, we would just go hit the next one, boom, 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 and it would make traveling through 0-0 incredibly fast. Even if you had to do 40-50 jumps, it happened very, very quickly when you were using bookmarks. And chances are a lot of hauler pilots are probably going to go around and be setting up their own bookmarks within systems. So removing this kind of free warp doesn't achieve anything, because unless you're saying no free warp and no bookmarks, then it becomes a problem. But as long as we can save locations that we like to visit or whatnot, we're going to be pretty okay, because we can still use that kind of technique to map out routes and make safe routes. I don't think that piracy should rely on just like, well, this is a known trade route, I'm going to drop a beacon at this location, and anything that comes through here is going to get stopped. That's lame. That's pretty freaking lame. I would want it to just be this passive collecting up whatever ships fly by. I want there to be a payoff and a technique to it. You know, I don't want it to just be like, oh, let's see what happens. Let's see who drops out of warp. That's boring. I want some real cat and mouse. I want chasing people with sensors and scanning them down and that sort of thing. I want something really intense and something really involved, not something that's so pedestrian as to drop an interdiction beacon somewhere and wait to see who shows up. That's lame. And so like I don't think that this system, if it's intended to kind of prevent people from taking alternate paths, I don't think that it's really going to achieve what they hope it's going to achieve. And I mean, even if we don't get a bookmark, you could say, like, let's say you're going to Levski from Olisar. You can go to Daymar, you can go anywhere, you can just flick your engines on and off halfway there, and then cut all the way to Levski or Delamar from there, from that midway point, and that should put you off axis from any interdiction. So really, what is it that you hope to achieve out of removing the system? It's not going to do anything. I mean, players are pretty enterprising and inventive people, and I don't think that this is going to be something that really stumps them for too long, and they'll find a way around it. And I think that having that in there is just kind of I don't know. It's kind of a half measure, because I don't think it's really ever going to pull off what they hope it's going to pull off by restricting people to certain highways or routes in space. I don't think that it's going to happen that way. But I guess we'll have to wait and see how it all shakes out. But I mean, they haven't committed to it one way or the other anyway, so I think it's more of a wait and see type thing. But overall, I don't think that even if they take it out, whatever, if they're really kind of hoping to achieve this kind of, this will channel players through these certain parts of space, I don't think that it's really going to achieve that unless the players are playing AFK with autopilot on. I don't think it's going to work that way, and in the end, I don't think they're going to get what they want out of it. But I guess, we just got to wait and see. Anyways, that's the show for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.